Hey there, second grade. Good morning, good morning. So far, you should have been able to watch the video on our theme and our genre of the week. So, myth, and I'll tell you a little bit about myths here coming up. And you should have already seen your vocabulary words as well and their definitions. Remember, they're in your small reading book on page 408. But if you ever want to look them up with their definition, they're in your large reading book in the glossary in the back. Okay, so this is your short story of the week. You'll see the genre is a myth. We'll talk about that in a minute. The title is Why Fir Trees Keep His Leaves. Why Fir Tree Keeps His Leaves. Now, this is a fir tree, not like furry like a dog is furry, but FIR, fir tree, is like an evergreen tree or a Christmas tree. Okay, and those needles, which they're using in this story, they're calling them his leaves. He never loses them. He gets to keep them all through the winter, unlike all these other trees that lose their leaves. And he doesn't really like being different. And he's not sure, but he's going to learn through this story why he gets to keep his leaves. Our essential question this week is, what do myths help us understand about plants? And we're going to go ahead and read this story together, but I want to talk first about what we're going to focus on this week. And our comprehension strategy is rereading. As you read, you may not understand a word or a phrase or an explanation in a story. Stop and reread these parts to be sure you understand. Sometimes, friends, my mind can wander. I can kind of daydream about something and I forget to pay attention to what I've just read. That's another time that you're going to want to stop, go back, and read it again. Okay? The comprehension skill is theme. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. It's theme. And this can sometimes be hard to find in a story, but usually towards the end of a myth or a folk tale or a fable, you will hear, especially fairy tales, you will hear a lesson that the author wants you to learn or a moral. So, the theme of a story is the main message the author wants to tell the reader. To find the theme, think about what the characters say and the characters do. Now, here's our genre. This is exactly what I wanted to talk to you guys about. We've not read any other myths yet this year. Why Fir Tree Keeps His Leaves is a myth. A myth is a made-up story. It explains why things are the way they are. And it has an important lesson or message. And one of our exit tickets, I believe, focuses in on a myth and what are the three parts of a myth. And you'll find this on page 412. The vocabulary strategy this week is context clues. And what that means is if you don't understand a word that's in a story, look at the clues around it and it will help you understand the meaning of the word that you don't know. So, to understand the meaning of a word you do not know, look at the other words in the sentence for clues. I'm going to go ahead and read on. I am not sure what harvested means. I look at other words in the sentence for clues. I read the words, what he had grown. I think harvested means something the farmer did after he grew his crops. Harvested must mean picked or gathered crops, and I know that because of the clue words right here in the sentence. What he had grown. He harvested what he had already grown. Context clues are very helpful when you come across a word you're unsure of. So those are the main things we're going to study in reading class this week, and here's our short story. While you're reading, keep thinking about what do myths do to help us understand plants.
Genre: myth. Why fir tree keeps his leaves.
All right, we're going to start with right here, long ago. Make sure you have your reading book out, page 406. We're going to start reading 407. You could read along with the video if you can see it and you're on a device that's large enough. Otherwise, you can just listen to the video and use your own textbook.
Long ago, in ancient times, Mother Nature gave each tree a different purpose. However, she did not share her reasons with the trees. Fir Tree had 3 friends: Maple, Oak, and Elm. During the first summer, they saw Bird and Squirrel play in farmers' corn and tomato crops. The breeze blew and rustled their leaves. The shining sun warmed them. Then the first fall arrived. Farmer harvested what he had grown. Maple, Oak, and Elm's leaves turned beautiful shades of orange, red, and yellow. The leaves shone as golden as the sun. Fir Tree's leaves stayed green. Fir Tree complained to Mother Nature. "I don't like my leaves. I want them to change colors like my friends' leaves." "Be patient," Mother Nature replied. "You will learn your purpose."
Take a minute to look at the illustration and think about what you've just read. You can see by the faces of his friends and the fir tree how he's feeling. He's jealous, isn't he? Mother Nature created these trees the way they are, but she didn't explain why. And right now the fir tree is thinking, man, I want beautiful leaves that change colors just like my friends. So he was pretty upset, but Mother Nature just said, be patient. He has a purpose and he will learn. All right, page 408.
So Fir Tree waited. The temperature dropped even more. Bird flew south, and Squirrel was nowhere around. Maple, Oak, and Elm lost their leaves, but Fir Tree's green leaves remained. Soon snow blanketed the ground. Again, Fir Tree protested to Mother Nature. "Why am I different? Why don't I have stages and change like my friends? I seem to be stuck in one period of life." "Be patient," Mother Nature replied. "Soon you will develop an understanding of your purpose." Just then, Squirrel appeared on the edge of the forest. She was cold. When she went inside the forest, she saw Maple. She asked if she could build a warm nest in his branches.
All right, page 409. Again, Fir Tree's not happy.
Maple said he didn't have any leaves. She asked Oak and then Elm. Both said the same thing as Maple. She was still bitterly cold. Squirrel approached Fir Tree. "Excuse me," she said. "May I build a nest in your branches?" "Yes, that would be nice," said Fir Tree. Squirrel ran up Fir Tree's branches, and she made her nest. Soon, she was warm, comfortable, and asleep. Fir Tree finally understood that his green leaves provided a warm shelter for animals in the winter. From that moment on, Fir Tree was happy to be different. Still today, he remains proud of his evergreen leaves.
All right, second grade. So I want you to think in your brain, what was Mother Nature's plan all along for Fir Tree? Fir Tree was there in the winter for animals to stay warm. He had a big job. Even though he had differences than his friends, which made him feel jealous and unhappy sometimes, he found out that he had the greatest job of all, and that's to keep squirrels and little animals safe in the winter and warm inside of his evergreen leaves. Okay, here's some making connections questions at the bottom. How did Fir Tree develop differently from his friends? Think about that for a minute. Remember what develop means, to grow and to change. So how was he different than his friends? Well, he didn't have leaves that changed colors. He stayed green all year. He didn't lose his leaves, he kept them. So those are two major differences in how he developed differently from his friends. Now, a text to self connection. When have you wanted to be like your friends? I know that my friend Mrs. Reeves is so kind to others and always puts other people first. And I know that that's something that I can do better and not be as selfish, but put others first and to think of others. She has always been that way. And by the way, her birthday was yesterday on Sunday, so maybe you can give a shout out to our friend Mrs. Reeves. She'll take a look at Dojo at some point today. But when have you wanted to be like your friends? All right, it's very normal, just like Fir Tree, to want to be the same, and so, the way that your friends around you are that you think is really cool, of course you want to be like them. But remember, you have many good things in your own life and your own personality that make you wonderful that your friends want to be like and wish to be like you. Okay, just like my friend Mrs. Reeves and her kindness. I would love to be as kind and as thoughtful as Mrs. Reeves as well. So keep that in mind. Our mythology or our myth about plants. Why Fir Tree Keeps His Leaves will repeat read tomorrow, and I hope you'll notice you'll be more fluent and understand the story even better. A myth is a made up story with made up characters that often has a message, and I think our message in this story is what? What do you think the message is, or the moral? It's okay to look up to your friends, right? And it's okay to want to be like them. But don't forget, just like the fir tree learned, he's very special as well. So we're all special in our own way. We need to love ourselves just as much as we love our friends. And I think that's a great lesson in why Fir Tree keeps his leaves. All right, my special friends, thanks for listening today. I love you and keep working hard.